Hi, beautiful. Happy December to you. Obviously, you know who you are before I do. I just woke up from a really great nap, so I'm feeling much more like full of life, a lot more like present, which is amazing. But we're gonna go ahead and see who. I think we only have two more signs left, so let's see who God wants to go next. Libra. Yeah, I just felt that as like I called you beautiful. It's like the Venus parts of my body that are returning to my body because I think today has just been like such a huge transformation. Like Neptune really going direct really is like such a felt energy. It's such a cleaning up energy. Like I wanted to get through and to you guys' messages because directly after that it's just like boom, 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 boom. We have all this greatness to celebrate and all these good things to do. And I really feel like December really can't start for you now that there's just a lot of, I just think, like I said, it's almost like beauty sleep. It's almost like you were, like a lot of what, maybe Libra, what you were going through was just like needing to restore yourself back to like the original, again, prosperity and leadership. In order for you to be ready to take on, it's just like, you just needed to, there's like a time period of needing to adjust. Wow. Okay, so anyways, that's just all top download. I'll just read what we've got. So your overall December energy is so beautiful. It's water. It's literally the principle, the element of water. Water symbolizes all things metaphysical, intuitive, emotional, psychic, future-oriented, also life-giving, you know? And it's kind of funny. Like I said, for you, Libra, it's like, it's kind of funny because like the bottom of your deck is like self-discipline. So it's like about how self-disciplined you are. To me, I feel like 2025 and like December specifically is talking about how self-disciplined you are to find the water, to find the resources that you truly do need to nourish yourself. Because I think that's what the year of the snake was really trying to like build out of you in so many ways. Was just, I'll use the regular writer rate for you guys because I want to make sure this is like cut and dry. I feel like your message is like very specific, but perhaps for all of 2025, it's like, you know, keeping yourself from water, from things that nurture you, from also like shutting out the side. Again, you are a masculine air sign. And so I do feel like maybe even I'm like seeing, because we always talk about partnership with you, but like even in terms of like the partnerships that you do have, the self-discipline choice for you will always be the one that complements you or nurtures you, nourishes you, again, gives life to you. I think there's just like this big cycle that's ending, right? And it's like, in order for you to even get to a 10 of Pentacles, it was just going to require that like something has to be like nurturing to you. I also think that you're able to address through this year. You had to develop a sense of self-discipline, maybe because there wasn't certain watering of certain aspects of yourself for majority of your life. So like this year really challenged you to like step out and like, because it's like, you know, to a certain point, the things that are on your destiny, the things that are a part of your life, it's like, it's not really anyone else's responsibility to like bring them to fruition. So at some point, if it's like, if I'm a director and I know I'm a director, at some point, like, I have to move from victimization and I have to be disciplined in myself to make sure that I'm watering that. Like if it's something that I just want it to grow, I got to water that, you know, ability. And I just feel like you have done that all year. And perhaps now from watering this thing back and forth all year and developing out like a true sense of self-discipline, you actually do have at the end that, you know, once it's all said and done, something remarkable. So let's see. Wow. So Libra, currently your disposition, the Queen of Swords. Ugh, this is huge. This has everything to do with Neptune going direct, right? Finally, because when Neptune was retrograding in the last 14-year cycle for you, it has felt like there has just been no, it's like the land of lost souls is like from Avatar. It's like where people get, like you can get stuck in the land of lost souls for so long because the spirit of the fog in the land of lost souls, if you've never seen Avatar, it's just basically this like realm, this is like place, this geographic location where there's like a fog spirit that like, be careful not to fall into the fog because the fog will make you like forget who you are. And it just kind of keeps you in like a mental purgatory. And then it's also just foggy. So you can't, it's like, there is no end or beginning. And I just feel like you're deeply, like I just told you, I woke up from a nap and it's like, things have changed. Like what was is not anymore. Libra, this is huge. Like I feel like spirit, I think also one of the things that you were becoming more self-disciplined in is like, connecting with the water taught you to learn how to let spirit like wade you in the water. Like again, I kind of told Cancer this. I was like, you guys got to really work on like staying still in the trap. Some of this stuff, again, you are way more spiritually attuned now. You do know that certain things are like coming up because they're being purged out or they're being cleared or they're being filtered out. Or in fact, that even if something contradictory comes up for you, Libra, like throughout this year, you're being prompted to understand that it's like, yeah, but sometimes confrontation, because again, That's another thing is like with you, Libra, I think you like your water to be very still and pure and clean. And water always settles. Like the debris, the pollution of water will always separate in and of itself. That's another huge message I'm just hearing for you guys. Is like, you know, you got to remain self-disciplined and continue to nurture yourself, because otherwise there are things that I think you would turn, that spirit can move forward that maybe like you were too stationary on. Like you were, because again, I think you have this cunning air sign ability, right? Where it's like, I don't know what it is, who it is, why it is. Like, this needs to be clear. Like this, like, I'm gonna cut through the bullshit regardless. And at some point, there is times where I feel like maybe throughout the year, or even like with it coming into December, where it's like, yeah, but sometimes you have to surrender to spirit. Sometimes like God is the one pushing. Sometimes God is the one that's gonna provide the clarity. So I do also feel like, you know, maybe Libra, again, not nurturing yourself is the reason maybe like why you were like real choppy, like with stuff, and like certain stuff like spirit was just like trying to move forward. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's also another big thing is like staying disciplined and also staying out of the masculine frequency, because a lot of this is like masculine energy, which is great. It means you feel like yourself. But again, you in life and your self-discipline, the way that you grow, the way that you can build trust with yourself is like implementing like complementary frequencies or elements that you don't have. And so, yeah, I think there's like a huge, like I said, I just like woke up. I like I didn't even have any other download before this. I like just woke up. I was like, oh, okay, because I like, well, before I went to bed, I had these huge bags because I just like worked so much and I had to catch up on sleep. Caught up on the sleep, did a little bit of meditation for myself. But then it was like, oh, okay, the fog in and of itself is definitely like clearing. So let's see. Whoa. This is huge. Okay, Libra, this is huge. You, very similar to Sagittarius, is another like relationship dynamic situation. So Libra, God had to hold off on this perfect angel of a relationship that I think you already knew, that I think you were like, you know, for high vibration or low vibration, you basically were standing in your truth about it. Like, it's like, even if it didn't make sense, like logically, while like the land of lost soul, like the fog was down, I think this is a partnership that like a lot of the visions that you have for yourself right now, they're very future oriented. And the part of the future that you can't understand is the climate that we're going through. And so this is why astrology can be very helpful, and also just like cosmology in general, tracking celestial movements and their influence on the universal causal realm. Because sometimes you're closing a 14-year cycle that was about one thing that you have maybe mastered or that you will be done with. But I think for Libra, there was like a lot of like, come to me, and God's still trying to move certain stuff forward. And that's why like, I just kind of feel like there were partnerships that maybe Libra, it felt like you were doing the right thing by being like, this is toxic, because it's like they were in a surrender state, and you're so Libra, you're so like, I don't want no confusion. You're confusing me. Cut it. And then it might actually just be that like that's your sacred partner, and like that was a part of their cycle. Like the reason things weren't aligning weren't because of like anyone's fault. It's because of like bigger things that we're all like dealing with. I also think like Libra, this is again, you have to let the intuition come in, because I think Libra, you're really good at like winding up the toy soldier and like making it go. Like, okay, I can do this. I know how to keep myself on the straight and narrow, and that's great. But like the intuitive Neptunian version of things, the things that just kind of bleed into your life and like the art of life, like you're only gonna get that if you surrender a little bit and allow, because look, you're on land in this, and it was clarified by the Six of Swords, which means like you need to be self-disciplined in terms of your intuition. That's something that God was like really trying to develop in you, because these new partners you saw for yourself, I think you saw them clearly. You can do the air sign thing. You can like see the vision. You can be like, yeah, I know like what's for me. But I don't think you were understanding why the relationship was turning out the way it was. I don't think you were understanding like why like I don't think you were understanding that. And it just had to do with like, if you were more connected to like source and you were in a more of a surrender state, you would also understand that the instruction at the time was like, but some things need to start when the new cycle begins, when it is cosmologically like happening, that like the new beginning on Earth is happening. Because this just looks like new Earth partnerships that like now that Neptune is direct and it's closed out a 14-year cycle, it's like I feel like you are not prepared for how successful all of these things, lovers, right, which are things that God designed for you, are about to manifest. They were holding off. Like I said, I told you guys, like the end of 2025 Gregorian calendar, like if you guys are really someone who believes like November and December are the last months of our year, then you would be, I told you guys to prepare to like lay low and to allow yourself to just stay in a reflective space, because at this point you now have proof, Libra. It's like, oh, it's not that these things are failed. They have a specific start time, and it's probably with the new world. It's like 10-10. There are certain things until the old world completes, the new cannot begin. So because I think all of your partners were in their old self previously. Like I said, I think you're just coming into like how spiritually attuned you are, why you represent the scales, because it's like, I think you're just looking at people and you're not understanding how spiritually, like how much spiritual authority you have. But that's why you're being like, kind of like, it's almost like being relentless. Like this is like someone getting refugees coming into their kingdom of truth and like just being like, fuck no, being like on some ice cream, get the fuck out of here, brother. And not really having sympathy, because you're like, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I don't know, you're a peasant, you're not doing that. And then the whole time you're not realizing like, oh wait, we're all kind of in a peasant, like these aren't people who like aren't doing for themselves. These are people who like lost everything. These are people who are like submitting to the will of God. Like we are in a collapsing paradigm. So like they weren't, it's kind of like what I told you about my family. Like my family really punished me because they're disconnection with God. Like they do not understand that like the things that I was going through in 2020, like specifically like weird things, like it being more difficult now for someone in my generation to find a job 11-11 just because of the global economy right now. That's not like a personal thing. Like why someone won't hire me with my skill, I don't know. I don't know. I can't control that. But again, they really took it as like, there's this lazy piece of shit bum that we're all related to who doesn't do anything for herself. They kicked me out several times over it. They, you know, just different things where it's like, it has nothing really to do with like, because I think if you met me during my like hobo era, you would have been like, oh, that's a bum, but then it's like, you come to my universe, you come to my arc, you come to my business, you're like, wait, she has so much, like, what? Exactly, because you, Libra, this is just about God being like, you need to be more self-disciplined and like being a little more like including intuition, because like, I just think that maybe like Libra, you were coming off a little cold to things that are actually destined and fated for you. And the reason that they were like not aligning, again, just has to do with you surrendering to God. Like has to do with like, well, God says when certain stuff makes sense, and people are also allowed to go through cycles. Things are allowed to go through cycles. You will also inevitably go through a cycle. I think the other thing you learned is like, it's great for me to be in my air sign judgment of people and think that I'm really making the best like adjudication of what's going on, but you're not. You're not, because I think the thing that I think you were trying to swing your sword all 2025 to like clear it up. You're like, who's for me? And I think you made a lot of like, I also feel like you had coup d'etats and like people in your corner that you were like, that were like backing up. You're like, yeah, that's right, cut that out, that's bullshit there. And it was, you guys aren't spiritually attuned. And so it's like you are in fact someone that's like governs in the spirit, but you're not spiritually attuned in terms of like what you're doing, because you're cutting off things that are just like trying to come to you. They just like come to you at a certain time. They like just work for you. It's like, you know, I know this about like my brother, right? Like our big riff in 2025 was like, you know, him and his partner really thought they were fucking on to something. Like they thought like they were eating the girls down, like fuck you and Dennis, and y'all can get the fuck out of our house, we need space from you. It's like, okay, sure, valid, like do whatever you're gonna do, I don't really care, as long as you like understand like you're responsible for like your informed decision. But I will just tell them, I'm like, you know, it really did hurt my feelings, because I was like, I wish you would actually rely on the character of the person you've known for 28 years instead of being a bimbo bitch and being fucking blown by the wind, right? Because for 28 years I've only ever been exceptional. I've only ever been like the boots down. I've only ever gotten my family invited to crazy stuff, gotten them, you know, opportunities in extreme places. And so it was like hard for me with my brother, because I was like, brother, damn, I can't go through my flop era. And it's not even my, it wasn't even on my flop era. It was like, I can't just go through what God's got all of us going through right now. Like, you're going to go through this too, you know? I only bring up my brother because he's Libra rising, you know? So again, that's what I'm saying. I think you were too choppy. You were too, in the past, it was a little too, like you were, it's almost a little bit like, you need to have some couth and decorum. You can't just like get in your ego and just like chop down people. And this is kind of like you were in a little bit of like beating a dead horse, like beating a horse down just because they're trying to like finish a cycle. And it's like you weren't also like walking with it. You weren't really being that helpful. Because at the end of the day, the person that you're going the hardest on, the person that you were chopping out, like what I'm trying to tell you is like they were for you. It's like, you know, my brother was like, okay, so this is really like the solve to the problem is like, I need space from you. But what are you really trying to communicate with that, right? Like my whole question is like, so what? Like you just don't want any updates from your sister and your brother for the rest of your life? It's like, I don't know, right? Because you can chop me down, but then the people are looking at you like, but this is stuff that's for you. Again, this is like you trying to think that you can make executive decisions about stuff that God has equipped it to be on your path and in your life. You're not going to be able to do that. And I think the reason you were having this little twizzy tizzy was actually just because like you're not self-disciplined. Like you don't nurture yourself, so you get triggered by people who do that. Because I think you're in your royalty. Like, sure, you have some stoic position in the world right now that's aligned to your truth. You're probably living in the truth of who you are. Beautiful Venusian artist, fabulous genius, designer of your life. And yet you don't give to yourself. You're not really disciplined in making sure that you like water your own self and your own creation. So again, Libra, this is more of that, like, you're not going to really be that great to anybody if you don't keep your own cup full. That was kind of the theme of 2025. Like, if it's never enough time to do for Libra, if you only offer your interior design business and your best to your clients and not to you live in a shitter, you know, if you go out and you perform for other people, but you don't, like, you're barely getting by, but people know you and rely on you to fill their life. It's like, that kind of stuff is why you would do this to people that are for you when they're just going through a surrender cycle. Because it's like, they very much could see you as like, well, damn, nigga, you're just mad, or you also repress me, or you don't allow me to stand in what I'm doing and how I nurture myself just because you don't do it. It's not actually based in like someone, like, again, because they just feel like there's a lot of this like Judge Judy frequency that was trying to come out. And then again, I think the karma of it all is like very karmic. The way that it's going to work out is like the things that were for you were just waiting for the fog to clear. And the fog that's clearing is a cycle. It's not your fog to clear. It's like, this is where, again, Libra, you have to learn to like balance yourself back into the collective. You are also a part of the group, you know? And I think because you were getting really sharp on, like, I think it was important. I think the reason you're in your Queen of Swords is because it's like, it's about having an individual lens on like who you are as an individual, what's your spiritual truth. And I think because you've been so triggered probably by a lot of people who think if it's you, then it's me, then it's me. Like, you know, when you do the Libra 7th house thing, it's like, we're all the same, we're all sharing stuff. And it's like, that's not true. So you're standing in the Queen of Swords through divine guidance. But I just want you to know, in the end, what I feel like happens is like, the things that were always for you, the people that were always for you, are the only ones that are bearing fruit at this time that even give to you equally. Right? Because even with my brother, like, the reason that he knows he's my fucking soulmate brother for life ski is because, like, for light and for dark, my brother's value will always come out of my mouth the exact same fucking way. Are you stupid? Are you stupid, or are you dumb? Right? I'm the only person that's ever given my brother stuff, like, consistently throughout his life. Like, I'm like his longest term best fucking friend. Are you stupid? And it's always because, like, every time I pop out, like, every time anything, when it comes to, like, anytime I'm on my Page of Pentacles, it's equal give and take. That's why he fucks me the long way. But that's also why I was like, I'm gonna have to let y'all go through a little karma this year, because it's like, you're getting too choppy before the clouds had cleared, before the smoke had cleared, and you were clear. You were cutting down things that I think were actually soulmate frequencies. And we're actually really trying to manifest something with you. And again, like I said, Libras, like I said, you might have been asleep. You might have just woken up. I think Libras, like, you might have literally just like awakened. Like, word to Downtown 81, like the opening scene, I awoke. Like, Jean-Michel's like, I awoke. Oh, shitski. Like, I just did that. So I just feel like there might be the manifestation of something physical that just like wakes you up from your slumber. Because someone who's for you is like trying their best to manifest your clarity. Because I think, like I said, you've been ruling your castle while you were sleeping. Sleepy, sleepy Libra. Right? Oh my God. Is this not the recent past? So, took a couple losses in the recent past. I do really think it's because you're going the wrong way. This is an entourage of bums. Okay, Libra, we already talked about this. One of your biggest pipelines for 2025 in general was like, you have to be honest about, like, you cannot be the star amongst a bunch of just raggedy bitches. Again, it goes down to self-discipline, Libra. Being liked, being a people pleaser, that was really wrapped up for you in 2025. And the whole issue is like, you're riding around right now. In the recent past, you're riding around. You're in your own personal victory, but you're the only artist you're the only real geyser for miles around the people that you're associating yourself with. And I think the only reason you can stomach this little shit parade is by getting way too like, so again, Libra, I'm holding space, because if you're not clear, if you're doing things that continue to like Neptune retrograde, it's like you're not clear, you're not able to like really see like with clarity, I just feel like this is like clouded judgment, like, you know, and this is obviously not a victorious thing, but it's like you're dealing with your desire to create a successful feeling, but it's not actually that with what you're dealing with. So I just think there's like, it took a very, very long time. It probably took all of 2025. Like I said, Libra, no shade, no tea. It looks like top of the year, what God wanted for you was like, there was the things that were for you, in fact, were like coming up to you and they were ready to like create stuff with you. However, Libra, it took you a long time before you got cut out of the cloudiness, because it looks like in the recent past, all you were building was cloudiness. I also think the people that were for you were trying to tell you, if you had to make like ultimatums, like if you make cuts this year, Libra, especially the things like I said, like things that you've known your whole life, or like I'm just using my brother as an example. It's like me and my brother have been best friends. Like we're not an argumentative cut, like so we don't have that rapport. Like no. Also, like we're 6 years apart, so like we have a very big generational kind of like distance. So it's like really easy for us to be individuals because like we're not really going through any cycle at the same time. We were never in any grade school really at the same time ever. However, I do just feel like the things that you cut off we're trying to tell you, like it's because this and this can't exist in the same. This is like people that celebrate you, but they don't give you any water. So this is being undisciplined. And then I also think you spent a lot of 2025 not being disciplined. I also feel like God gave you a message at the beginning of the year, like get serious about you because there's all this stuff that's coming in, right? I know at the top of the year, I called my brother. One of the first things I said in January, I was like, brother, when I was writing my tour, I was like, brother, I need you to go start the LLC and I need you to just like be running under the brand of Sherman Taylor. You need to do that, brother. You're so late. You have like my brother, like one of the things about him is he's like way too many bands, way too much of an artistic footprint, way too much of a founder in terms of like millennial Austinite legends. He's one of them. And I'm like, you have too much of that to not be like concretizing that and like accounting for that and like auditing how much you actually do, what your impact is. However, the niggas don't want to listen to me. They think whatever. But I'm just letting you know, looking at how his year path turned out, it's like there was a lot of opportunities that he was not aligning himself to or not even able to be grounded about because again, the sleepiness of it all. But it's like, these are people that it's like you have to be disciplined though. If you want to make it to if you want to be Libra out in the world, you have to be self-disciplined and get yourself the water. And another big thing that Libras you struggle with is like your loyalty to things that like, I know shared experience and relating is the most important thing to you. Don't ever change, but you have to be more discerning. That's why God wanted to put you in this Queen of Swords. It's like, you've got to be more discerning that not everything deserves like a new, because Libra, you're going to be unanimous. Like anyone comes up to you and aligns with you, you're going to give them the same Libra. And as long as they're like, they actually like you, like you're going to create the cycle with them. And I think this is just about really discerning that there are in fact things that are supposed to be for you and they help you actually materialize things. The only time you had favor was when you were around things that were for you. I think you also plainly saw that in 2025. Like, this person's not for me, or this thing is not for me, or this job or this community or these friends aren't for me, because we're always broke together. If they're for you, you always come out with a bag, even if it's like the littlest things. It's just like alignment to helpfulness. So again, in the recent past, like I said, it's just like you're parading into the confusion party. Again, this is like always like needing to be like drunk around the friends that you have, because it's like we don't really have anything of substance to talk about. But then it's like the people that are for you, you was way too queer, you was way too clear in your mind to like chop them down because you were judging the fact that they were surrendering to God and going through a collective experience. That's what I'm saying. So there's a huge cycle that is wrapping up this Christmas. And this Christmas, I think you're going to get back this December. And this is crazy because Libras can be at a lot of different vibrations. You'll be getting back this December whatever it is that you've actually put out all year. Now, Libra, I think for some of you, what you were giving all year, this isn't really helpful to anybody, because even if you're the guy that a bunch of bums uplift or think is really awesome or think is really cool, this is like, again, we just talked about it. You like roll around with people that you're loyal to, but they don't have the same substance as you. They're not like stars. Like, you know, you have to just be honest that it's like, I think Libra, you were always like, nah, like you try this like fake being humble shtick is not like, it's not really conducive, because it's like, it's just like your way of trying to like say that I'm gonna like fight to stay misaligned or stay like out of the picture. And that's just like, it's just not necessary. It's just truly not necessary. In the near future, I think this is amazing. I think the thing that you're really learning is like, you don't get a cookie, you don't get a door prize, you barely get a treat. You really don't get anything by being the richest man in the graveyard. You really don't get anything by like sticking around with those friends just because you've known them for 30 years. You don't, especially when it comes to the things that are for you on your spiritual path, like on the path of your soul, not just like where you come from, you know. Like I said, Libra, you're very sentimental, you're very Venusian, everything matters, everything is deep. Don't change that. It's just, it has to be more in alignment with what God wants for you. And I think, you know, it's like what I'm seeing is you were too ready to be ruling somewhere. Like you wanted to take your throne while the old world was still up. The people that were for you were somewhere dying to self on the boat, going to safety through the water that you avoid through your lack of self-discipline. So the people for you were more self-disciplined than you were this year, Libra. And so that's why they're somewhere in the water. And you're looking like, oh, all I'm doing is wrapping up a cycle. But even if it's hard right now to take that pill or to swallow that pill, you are realizing, because it was a question. I don't think you had clarity. Like when you were cutting these people off, I think you thought you were you were really moving from like a charged feeling, but now you're coming to see it's like, oh no, they were just like growing and expanding. They were trying to be more disciplined, because I think Libra, like I said, you're really comfortable in your masculine energy. You're really comfortable in like, I'm going to go out and make it happen. But this is about God, like trying to balance you. Whereas like sometimes there's manifestations that happen that you don't have to go do anything for. They're supposed to come to you. Now, Libra, there are people that were sent into your path this year that you cannot rely on your spirit. They were sent into your path and saying, hey brother, our assignment, hey guy, our assignment is to learn how to get the water in. We've mastered the air. We know we can go, what we can go for, like build up ourselves and do. Masculine principle. But we are not super disciplined in like mastering metaphysics, mastering the invisible, mastering the feminine principles of life. So you were asked to develop that in this year, Libra. Now, if you did, you are coming up on top 7 of Wands as a creator. You are finally getting the distinguished achievement that you deserved, because you knew this had to stop in the recent past. I cannot keep parading around with these people aren't successful. You get what I'm saying? You can't just have a camp of yes men, a camp of roaches, a camp. It's not even just a camp of yes men. They don't match your spiritual, they don't match your aptitude. That you guys aren't going to create the same amount of stuff in life. So it's literally just giving fan energy. But you don't need fans. You could be in an artist cohort with other equal artists, and they could nourish you the same way that a fan can nourish. They can respond to you, talk to you, whatever. But it's like, you know the difference between, again, Libra, we talked about that. When you get the compliment from someone you think is amazing versus someone who's just like fucking stupid and doesn't know anything. Oh, thanks. Of course you think I'm pretty. Because you're random, you know? And so it's just something like about all of that. It's like, so it's like the reality, you know? Let's see. But if you're a Libra that isn't doing that, I think you've got all these 6 wands of your past, all these skeletons in your closet that you will have to one by one deal with. Because I think these are people, again, it's like gas up shorty. It's like people that you would just keep gassing and gassing and gassing and creating cycles with while you were cutting off things that were really for you. And all you're going to end up having to do is like distinguish yourself from them in the end. And it's going to take all your manifesting power to do that, you know? I think in the end, it's important for this to happen because you need to be distinguished. I think the whole point is like Libras, you're like distinguished. You're not regular. You're not like everybody. You're not like whatever. Yeah. Look at you this holiday season. Libra, I don't want you to spend, and this is the thing. It's like, let this be the last holiday season that you're surrounded by all these reminders that haunt your spirit. Because you know the truth of who you are. You know you come from. You know the royalty. You know the crown that's on your head. Look at how these people that are around you, they don't show up as anything other than spiritual initiations that you're failing and you're choosing to ignore and be ignorant to. And they also, it's coming from this issue of not seeing yourself as someone who is actually royalty. Again, the only reason you'd be walking around with a bunch of bozos is because you do have a self-value issue. It's like your self-esteem is not where it needs to be. You can't be a Venusian placement and have low self-esteem because you govern art and beauty and creativity. Like you govern those things. And so it's like when you have low self-esteem, that's the other thing, is like being this cloudy, being this sloshed up, being this unclear all the time is why you don't look good. You know what I mean? You also don't look your best. And so when you don't look your best, you don't feel your best. And then you're also just like blocked off from like the intuitive water parts. It's like that's the thing. It's like a self-discipline issue because you're not disciplining yourself. You're not creating routines. And this type of misalignment will do that. These people aren't going to put you on the path because they don't have the blueprint. They don't know where you're going. They don't know what you become. They know what you're doing right now. But again, then that's why these people, again, this is like false gods. It's like you can't be the false god in anybody's life. That's another thing that's making you uncomfortable by the end of December is like, I can no longer be your source. And these are people that would never acknowledge that like you're their source, but you are. Like they put you by default as the source of what they're doing. You're at the, like your transformation, what you do is like always what's next for them. Like they don't know what they're about to do if it wasn't for like you. And that's just, it's like, you don't want that because you just want to be a person. You just want to be, you don't feel like a god. You feel like a Libra. And you just want to be able to be Libra. And I just think at this point, these people are getting overwhelming. And then it's also just getting very stark that as the clouds are descending, it's like, oh, the people that were for me, like there was a lot of missed. I didn't get how much they were trying to manifest me. And perhaps you were just Queen of Swords. You were just not picking up what they were putting down because I think it was presented to you while they were doing the feminine thing that you lack. They were being receptive. They were like, I'm trying to build something with you all year, Libra. That's going to just come to us. It's not something we have to go do. And you were like, hell no, that means you're a fraud. So you probably did what my brother did, which is kick me and my husband to the curb for nothing. And you know, you got your karma for that because it doesn't matter. The karma isn't like dealing with me proper. No, the karma is like, enjoy the flea bags. Enjoy the junk. Enjoy all the losers that are now just like swiped your beauty, swiped your joy, and left you with probably like addictions and crazy shit, like that you don't even, it's not even your freak. It's not even your freak, you know? Exactly. Because Libra, I think, and I think this is the message that really helps you. Because the Hierophant was trying to come up to you and be like, hey, hey, hey. They just kind of popped up on you in 2025. Like, hey, don't forget, you're spiritual. Don't forget. Don't forget. And you're so, it's because, the reason I think also, like, I had grace, because, like, some people drive themselves into a deeper sleep. Like, some people, like, I try to tell you guys to be very careful about, like, who you interact with, what you do, because certain energies, you're around it long enough, it'll drive you right back into like slumber. And I think that's exactly what happened, is like you didn't really set yourself up for success about being awakened, because you're around a bunch of unawakened people all the time, giving to them, cohabitating with them, becoming codependent on them, and most importantly, like lying on your spirit, you know what I mean? And so of course when the Hierophant comes knocking and doing it, because the Hierophant came up like a page, but you just thought they were like toxic, you thought they were like codependent, you thought they were just like, I don't know. I think you just like really misplaced some of that. Again, the ego that you were struggling with all year also comes from the lack of water. Again, we have to deal with that, right? Because your biggest fear was coming into this internal union. Libra, you probably, like I said, you probably inherited, you know, the wound of how the mother like had to overcome, like how she had to explain, like if you come from someone who had to like display God's strength just to bring you here, which is most people, most parents, it's like kind of fucking insane the way that they like make kids unconsciously and then like have to do supernatural things to try to like fucking bring them to. It's like, I feel like that wound is why you never accept water. But I'm here to let you know, it's like you gotta do it for your maternal lineage. You've got to let water in. You've got to let your intuition guide you. You've got to let your emotions speak for once. You cannot keep staying around people, because this is the thing, is there's just so many examples of why this is not a successful feeling. You don't really feel good around these people. You don't feel like you're getting, it's not any closer, it's not any more depth. And then it's juxtaposed with like the things that are for you. It's like you weren't ready for them. It's like there's like phew, all these missiles fired at you, and it's like you didn't even see them because you were in the land of lost souls. You know what I mean? Oh my, dude, that's scary. Did I not just say, Libra? I have to title this your message. Did I literally not just say you were in the land of lost souls? Literally. And I just described, if you don't know what Avatar is, it's like I said, it's like a desolate land. It's like it almost feels like a graveyard, because people are just walking around because they can't get out of fog. They don't know how to get out, and they don't know where they are. You lose your memory, right? When you're in the land of lost souls. Look where you are. Look at you trying to get out of the land of lost souls. And it's like, this is the land of death. Like, it's like death parade. Like, this is the spirit of the fog in the show. That would just like, basically people like die there, because they don't even die. They just like are in purgatory indefinitely there. And look at this. Look how foggy. Look at you. This is exactly, if you've seen it, like if you've seen the episode of Avatar, just go like YouTube the clip of like the land of lost souls, because it's like just people like trying to get through this fog, dude. Holy cow, Libra, this is you coming out of the land of lost fucking souls, for real. This is way deeper than I thought it was. And I feel like the only people that brought you, bring me to the sunshine, they couldn't walk with you because you like dismissed them. I think you missed the boat. I think they were like, dude, you gotta get on this boat, bro. You gotta get on this boat. Come on, her. And they were really trying to get you on the boat, and you didn't go. That's fine. But they were like, I'm gonna have to leave you here. And it looks like you got engulfed into the land of lost souls. However, the reason that when you were there, it's like, I became the queen. Who you really are can't be taken from you, even if you get distracted and lost and cloudy. So Neptune going direct, like dissipated the spirit for long enough for you to be like, wait. So it's like you had I'm telling you, you probably woke up December 11th, right before the 12th quarter, like, I awoke it. Whoa, what am I doing here? Because I think you had to descend, and I think your guys had to go. Like, I feel like you were telling people, like, I need space from you, but the real thing that was happening was, like, you were getting left. Like, the boat was leaving, and you were actually gonna get left. And I feel like the last quarter of, like, the Gregorian calendar year, it was nothing but you in the graveyard with the fucking... And it's nothing like an experience like that will wake you up and be like, oh, wait, I'm not scared of hell, and I'm not scared of the darkness or the confusion or the author of confusion. I'm not scared of the devil at all either. Because if I was already claimed by God, by the divine, that's marked for life. I'm property of God. And so I feel like for you, Libra, descending, being in this really just, I'm telling you, it's like you had, like, I think you missed your opportunity out. You missed the last boat out, so you did actually sink with the Titanic. However, and it's funny, we're talking about the Titanic sinking. It sunk on my brother's birthday. So some of you girls literally did like go down with the Titanic, but it does not matter, because deep in the spiritual burrows of that like dark night, like it was dark. Like what you were living, I'm telling you, Libra, it was getting ugly. Like it was like, what the fuck? Like, where are y'all? the thing is, what you found in there is your actual sense of value. Now you're able to like come back up. And the good news is you might be in the land of lost souls, but you wake up as the royalty that you always were, which is the whole point of the triggering of all of it. Now you understand what people offered you, because this doesn't go away. Things that are for you don't go away. They don't disappear. If you miss it, it'll come back around to you. So you know it still stands. Like with my brother, I'm like, I left him off. I was like, okay, brother, well, have fun descending into hell. I'm going to keep moving forward on the boat to safety, because that's where we are right now energetically. You'll be all right. I'm gonna have to let you be all right. But of course, everything I've ever said to him, everything that I've ever honored about my brother is like the only reason I'm fucking awesome. Like, are you stupid? My brother raised me proper. And when I say raised me, he showed me a life that I wanted, a life that I thought was cool. And those people raise you way better when they have something you want. I always respect my parents for the ways that they did, but my parents like are very different from me in certain ways too, in terms of like what they wanted to build. My brother, though, boots down. We have the exact same taste, the exact same, just like 6 years apart. And so it's really easy for when I was growing up for me to be like, oh, Sherman's like in a punk band. He's like doing this. He's in a skate. He's doing this stuff. Like, I fuck with that stuff too. So it was like really easy for me to be like, right, for sure. But yeah, Libra, whoa, whoa. Deeper, you just woke up. You just woke up in the middle. It's like you might literally still be in the middle of the lost souls, but it's like the cloud dissipates and it has no power over you, because God has restored you back to your awareness of who you always were, the crown that was always on your head. Because this is like, you went from being the lost soul and it's like you're not able to move in it. This is like being stuck there for way too long till finally processing through. Like, I'm just getting, Libra, this holiday season is your last time. I think you're really preparing to wrap it up. The gift you're gonna be giving these bitches under the tree is like, let's wrap this up. Actually, let's not do some shit like this again. Me and you are not even just not for each other. Like, this is, you already know this. We've already had the dialogue. I'm not even gonna go. But the biggest message here is like, you're waking up out of your slumber. You're waking up out of the land of the lost souls, land of the fog. And you're finally able, and unfortunately it looks like because you missed the last boat, you had to go there, or you had to just stay there. Like, people didn't want to leave Libra stuck in the old world while it collapsed, but it looks like you had to stay there. And you have some beautiful stories and probably some really great art to share about how dark it got. Because nobody, I don't think any of your twins, like, I tried to spare every single one of my family members from each of them had to do this. I tried my damnedest. So I was like, I don't want to leave you in this nasty shitter. Are you sure? All three of them. My dad, my mom, and my brother. I was like, I don't think you, like, can we leave? Can we leave the ghetto? Can we get out of here? And they were like, nah. And I was like, okay, well, the boat does go. And the boat isn't driven by me. I'm not your creator. I'm getting on the boat myself. I have a ticket for you. Have a ticket. I got a ticket. We should get on. A lot of my family members this year didn't get on the ticket. I had to let go and surrender the fear, because they were just going to go through a death process, which I've almost died many, many times, and I've recorded many of them. So it's like, I wasn't too worried about the girls. Because if I could fucking survive, and I'm not God's strongest by any means, then these girls are gonna be all right. Because I think my family members are stronger than me objectively. Truly, they are. They just are born at earlier times. They can handle more. I'm a fucking Gen Z snowflake. Like, Like, you come into me being racist, I'm like, what? Like, my family can just tolerate so much more stuff and transmute so much more than I can. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like, what? No. So, again, this is huge, Libra, because, like, I literally awoke. But that's what I feel like today. You literally woke up and you're like, oh, I gotta get the fuck. And it's not even just like, it's like you're about to, like, they're about to see a Super Saiyan version. You're about to get the fuck. Like, I'm telling you, I'm so excited for 2026 for you. I'm also more so excited for the spring. I think that this isn't gonna happen necessarily all in the Gregorian calendar. I think this is the last ride out. I think all the way until Aries season what your task is, which is to wake up, get clear, clean it up, and definitely separate yourself and remove yourself. Like, again, I think there's someone who had to be a buddy who had to come get you out of it. Like, spirit had to come grab you, because you're in like, you can't get out of the land of lost souls unless there's someone who's conscious still there, who's like not confused. So again, it's like, those are the things that had to come for you at this time, Libra. But this is a huge ending of a cycle. Huge ending of a cycle. Huge ending of the last 14 years. Of a cycle of confusion. You're coming out of it and you're remembering who you are. And that's the most important thing, because we were never worried about you. You already govern and have all of your birthright. It's just like, for Libras, the saddest story is like, you forgot that, I try to tell my brother all the time, I'm like, Sherman, you're not just a regular guy, dude. There's nothing that you've done that was regular. Like, even the way he remembers like his like life in school and stuff, I'm like, brother, you were the most popular. You were like, it's like, what, dude? And so again, but you can't, again, I knew that it wasn't something that just like verbalizations or like a conversation could change for him. It really had to be like, dude, something had, we had to dispel the fog. And so I feel like Neptune going direct finally dispelled the fog that no one could like dispel for you. And now you're wide awake. So love that. Happy December. This is going to be an amazing time no matter how it ends up for you. But congratulations. I know that was a long and arduous walk. I know you've seen some things. I'm sure we would love to hear your crazy, insane stories about how dark it got, or not. Maybe we should table it. But write the book, write the songs, so that you can at least get a fucking bag for the shit you just endured. Because I'm just seeing the last quarter of the year was like darkness. Like darkness did descend. But now the fog is lifting. Shout out the celestials. I think you're also just more connected to the planets. You don't think everybody's full of foo-foo shishi. Like, you're gonna pay attention to a moon calendar now because you know. Like, you know, the planet, the earth, the cosmos, they all do play a part. So great news for you, Libra. Libra, I love you so much. Happy December.